What is going on, guys? This is Christian, and welcome back to the channel. As if you haven't seen my update video already, I have a new setup, and while I am going to be getting to new episodes of the Hannahcast pretty soon, I just have to figure out, who I'm going to get as guests and whatnot, or if I should just do them alone for the time being. Hopefully this should satisfy you until then. Yeah, welcome to the 2021 Nerdy Movie Awards. And if you haven't seen my, nominations video yet, basically the point, there's a lot of changes. Now, granted, we change up the Nerdy Movie Awards like every year because I'm such an inconsistent little bastard. But, regardless, this one is significantly different. There's a lot of changes, but the biggest changes are basically as follows. Going forward, the Nerdy Movie Awards, I will choose most of the winners in the categories because I want this to be more of a learning experience for you guys, so you can learn more about film, seeing as how I do have quite a bit of a knowledge about film and whatnot. But also, you guys do vote for Best Picture, and we have your winner for Best Picture, but that's not coming yet. No. We have to get through a bunch of other categories first. So, yeah. Without any further ado, let's get on to the first category, which is Best Original Song. And your nominees are Husavik from Eurovision Song Contest, The Story of Fire Saga, Make It Work from Jingle Jangle, A Christmas Journey, Never Break from Giving Voice, and The Plan from Tenet. And, oopsies, the winner for Best Original Song is Make It Work from Jingle Jangle, A Christmas Journey. Now, if you have not heard this song yet, do so, please. It is amazing. I mean, this year was already kind of a weak year for original songs. I only found 4 that were nomination worthy. But, however, what I will say is that this song, Make It Work, is so good. It gives me a lot of Greatest Showman vibes and whatnot. And good God, it has this kind of rock, this almost this rock and mechanical kind of vibe to it. I don't know how to describe it, but it is amazing. What's his name? What's his name? What's his name? It's Forrest Whitaker. Forrest Whitaker surprisingly has a pretty damn good singing voice, which was surprising to me, but apparently he was actually an opera singer before he became an actor, which I didn't know that. But yeah, he sounds great. And of course, the woman you see right here, I forget her name. I don't know who. I don't remember her name. She's the actress who played Tiana in Princess and the Frog. She in this song, she just commands her voice. Her voice is so powerful in this, and I love that. So yeah, that's why Make It Work from Jingle Jangle, A Christmas Journey is the winner for Best Original Song. The nominees for Best Original Score are Mank, Trent Reznor, and Atticus Ross. The Midnight Sky, Alexandre Desplat. Pinocchio, Dario Marianelli. Soul, Trent Reznor, Atticus Ross, and John Batiste. And Tenet, Ludwig Göransson. And the winner for Best Original Score is... dang! Whatever. Tenet, Ludwig Göransson. Woohoo! Get the claps going! Yay! Woohoo! Technical issues, sorry, but regardless, yeah, Tenet. The reason, I was shocked that this did not get a nomination at the Oscars. Really, Tenet didn't get nominated. Now, apparently, through what I've been reading, Tenet actually did not send out, Warner Brothers did not have a for your consideration, push for Tenet, which, if you don't know what for your consideration is, it's pretty much reminding the other like reminding awards bodies that, hey, our movie exists, give it a watch. They send them screeners. It's not bribery, because like literally every major, everyone, like every studio does this. They just send screeners out to voting members of certain awards bodies, so that, again, as like a reminder, again, it's not, like I said, it's not a bribery. This doesn't influence their choices in terms of like, hey, we gave you a free copy of our movie. Like, that's really not how it works, because literally every studio does that. But, yeah, Warner Brothers did not have a 4-year consideration push for Tenet. And I think that's why, especially in the Oscars, it only got 2 nominations. One of them for visual effects, which I'll get to later, and also the other one, production design, like nothing else, and like it didn't get a Best Original Score nomination, which is shocking because I thought Tenet had a banger score. Like I don't know how Ludwig Göransson keeps doing it, like with Creed, Black Panther, The Mandalorian, and Tenet, but this guy just keeps finding new cool ways to make music. Like the soundtrack of this movie makes it sound like the score sounds like it's going in reverse at times, which is just crazy. It's so good. It's exhilarating. This is honestly one of the best Nolan scores, one of the best scores in a Christopher Nolan movie I've heard yet. So yeah, I was sad that this didn't get a nomination for original score. Like I wasn't expecting it to win. Like I expected Soul to win, but Tenet really should have gotten nominated. This was a great score, but oh well, that's what happens when you don't push movies for your consideration, campaigns. But regardless, now we're getting into the category of best sound mixing. Now, if you don't know what sound mixing is pretty much how are all the sounds mixed together? Like whether it's the dialogue with plus the score, plus the sound effects in the movie, the sound editing, or with anything else. Just basically the overall sound of the film, the overall feel of the sound and whatnot. Which movies did the best with that? Well, we're going to find out. And here are your nominees for Best Sound Mixing. Mank. Soul. Sound of Metal. Trolls World Tour. And The Vast of Night. And your winner for Best Sound Mixing is Sound of Metal. This should, if you've seen this movie, this should come as a surprise to no one. Sound of Metal is one of those, is probably, it's up there with like the best sound design, like the best sound in movies I've ever heard. Because basically, if you don't know what Sound of Metal is about, it's about this guy, as you see on screen, played by Riz Ahmed. It's about this drummer who starts to go deaf, and you hear it from his perspective. And the sound mixing is so good. I love this kind of sound work in a movie where it's actually important to the narrative, important to the characters that we hear what they are hearing. So just like A Quiet Place, this movie does a great job with putting us in the world with its sound, like putting us in his perspective. And I feel like this did it even better than A Quiet Place in terms of sound mixing and whatnot. So, yeah, that's why Sound of Metal is the winner for Best Sound Mixing. The nominees for Best Sound Editing are Artemis Fowl, Sound of Metal, Tenet, Trolls World Tour, and The Vast of Night. I should have also cleared this up when it comes to sound editing. If you don't know, I explained what sound mixing is. Sound editing is pretty much the sound effects in the movie. Like, how do they create the sound? Sound editing is how they create the sounds. Sound mixing is how they mix all the sounds together. And that's what sound editing is. And regardless, the winner for best sound editing is once again Sound of Metal. Once again, like the way they create some of these sounds, like in like especially like I don't want to give it away, but there's a certain point. Like, if you're wondering why the movie's called Sound of Metal, you're gonna know why here when you watch the movie eventually, because again, the way they create these sounds is just so good. And don't get me wrong, the other nominees did a great job as well. I should have also I should probably also talk about the nominees for some of these other things. Like for example, okay, pulled it up. Jeez, that took way longer than expected. But regardless, let's talk about some of the nominees for these categories. You know, like with best sound mixing, you know, Mank, you know, did a great job with making the sound feel like making it feel like it's part of the world that is the Citizen Kane era of cinema, and I thought Mank did a great job at that. Soul also really surprised me with how good its sound was. Like even in like some of the more quote unquote intense scenes, it wasn't like this big this big action-packed sequence like dun 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 dun. No, it was like it was an overall really calm sounding movie, and a lot of that had to do with the sound mixing. It was just a really calm feeling throughout the entire film, and oh god, I love that. Trolls World Tour also surprised me with how good the sound work was in that. Now, granted, it's a musical and whatnot, so that helps. But the way they mix the sound, like the techno stuff, the rock stuff, like all of that in Trolls World Tour was done so well. And of course, if you've ever seen The Vast of Night, which is on Amazon again, The Vast of Night, there's an entire mystery in that movie regarding the sounds you hear. And again, it's done so well. All that is done so well. And then when you get to sound editing, like in the category we are in right now, again, say what you will about Artemis Fowl, but they did have some really cool sound effects in there. Like when you get to the scene where the time warp is collapsing in on itself, there's a lot of really cool sound work going on there. And I thought that was vastly overlooked. We've already talked about Trolls World Tour and The Vast of Night, but let's talk about Tenet. Tenet again had some very good sound editing. Now people are going to be a little bit confused, going, "Well, but I couldn't hear anything in the movie." Okay, well, for one, it didn't really bother me all that much because I still got a general sense of what the characters were talking about. But even then, that's sound mixing, not sound editing. Sound editing would be things like the gunshots, the explosions, like I said, sound editing is how they create the sounds. Sound mixing is, within the word itself, the phrase itself, how you mix the sounds together. And I thought Tenet did a really great job with sound editing. Now let's get to the category of best visual effects, and the nominees are Artemis Fowl, Love and Monsters, The Midnight Sky, The One and Only Ivan, and Underwater. And what is my choice for best visual effects? That would be The Midnight Sky. Now, there's going to be a lot of discussion regarding visual effects because, let me just clear a few things out. I will talk about the Oscars visual effects here in a bit, but I will just say this is in terms of the Oscars visual effects race, it is maybe the worst visual effects race I've seen in forever. Only 3 movies out of those 5 movies I would actually nominate. They were Love and Monsters, The Midnight Sky, and The One and Only Ivan. No, Mulan got nominated for Best Visual Effects? Really? It wasn't breaking any new ground. Set extensions? Okay, yeah, we've seen set extensions before. It's nothing that special. Or the avalanche scene? The avalanche scene looked awful. That didn't look good. So I don't know why Mulan got in there. And Tenet. Now, you're probably surprised as to why I didn't nominate Tenet for Best Visual Effects. And that's for the simple fact that there's barely any effects in the movie. Really. Not even practical effects. Tenet was so practical in terms of quote-unquote practical effects to where they weren't even effects anymore. There's the big scene that you saw in the trailer where there's this full-size plane ramming itself into a full-size building. That's not a practical effect. That is full-sized. That's a real full-sized jet plane just ramming into a full-size building. There's no trickery there. It's not a practical effect. They're literally doing it. And that's basically what Tenet does a lot of the time. Now, is that me criticizing Tenet? No, absolutely not. In fact, if anything, it's a plus to the movie because they were able to do things without visual effects. And I'll explain that here later in a bit in the show. But yeah, I don't know, and what visual effects that Tenet did have were things that we've seen before. Oh, look, there was an extra helicopter in the background. Ooh, look, there's some tiny explosions in the distance. That's not groundbreaking. That's not new. That's anyone can do that. So, not only I would not have nominated Tenet, and I would not have nominated Mulan. And don't even get me started on the shortlist, because the shortlist for that year's Oscars was even worse. I don't know why the Oscars did not even consider Artemis Fowl or Underwater especially. Underwater should have been a no-brainer. Because it was one of it was one of the few big quality visual effects films of the year. And yet no one nominated Underwater in any award show. The only nomination I could find regarding visual effects that Underwater got nominated for was Best Compositing at the Visual Effects Society Awards, which leads me to believe that literally, everyone just forgot about Underwater. Everyone just forgot about that movie. Everyone forgot that movie even existed. When really, it did deserve a Best Visual Effects nomination, especially when you take into consideration of the competition. Mulan and Tenet, or in the shortlist you had movies like Mank, which, if anything, had more distracting visual effects because it was CGI in a movie that really was supposed to feel like a Citizen Kane film, like the Citizen Kane era or whatnot, or Birds of Prey. Why did Birds of Prey get in the shortlist? Or Welcome to Chechnya, which, yeah, it used deepfakes in a pretty cool way, but it's not that groundbreaking, and it's not the best deepfakes I've seen. I've seen deepfakes better than this, and once again, everyone in their mom's basement has fucking deepfake technology, so I don't know why Welcome to Chechnya was even considered. All those movies were considered, and yet not Underwater, or even Artemis Fowl, or I would have taken Wonder Woman 1984, that would have been understandable, or Pinocchio, or something. Just, it makes me, this year's visual effects race makes me so angry, and I'm pretty sure Tenet's gonna win Best Visual Effects at the Oscars, and that's not gonna make me happy, because even though I think out of the movies that are nominated for Best Visual Effects, it is the best movie out of all those movies, but in terms of visual effects, no, it does not deserve a visual effects nomination at all, let alone a win. But regardless, let's talk about why I nominated some of these other movies for visual effects, and why The Midnight Sky ended up being my winner. Artemis Fowl. Love or hate the movie, I did not like Artemis Fowl. I thought it sucked. but there was some really cool visual effects were going on in that movie. Like, once again, as I said before, the time warp going in reverse was done so cool, was done so well. I've never seen anything like that before. It's doing things with visual effects that I've never seen before, and so it gets a little bump up because it's like, it's trying something new with visual effects. And Love and Monsters. Love and Monsters was honestly, like, the surprise for me when it came, like, because I saw it on, like, the visual effects shortlist at the Oscars, and I was like, wait, Love and Monsters, I barely heard of that movie. And then I finally watched the movie, and I was like, oh, that's why it got nominated for Best Visual Effects, or at least at the time, why it was on the shortlist. Because the creature designs are out of this world. Like the boulder snail, the crab, the centipede. Apparently the centipede was like the hardest creature for them to try to do when they made the movie, which is outstanding. And so, yeah, like, the Love and Monsters did some really cool things visual effects wise. Like the one and only Ivan did some great things in not only making some really good looking CG animals, but also there were even many moments where the entire scene was CGI and I didn't even notice that, which again is very impressive because, like, usually when people talk about invisible effects in movies, they're usually just talking about things like 1917, where the invisibility of the effects, like, it's like, okay, it's just stuff we've seen before all the time. It's just little things that they do with visual effects, and it's like, whoa, I didn't notice that was CGI, but it's like we've seen that before. Something like, you know, the one and only Ivan, where a lot of those scenes were done completely with CGI. That's impressive because that's it's doing more with invisible effects and whatnot. And then you get to Underwater, and Underwater once again does a lot of great things with visual effects, like really cool water effects and whatnot, like really cool uses of lighting and darkness and whatnot. But then we get to the Midnight Sky, and I feel like the Midnight Sky did the most with visual effects, and while still making them look really good, because the Midnight Sky, you know, as you can see right here, there's like whole scenes that where they didn't even use a green screen, and yet they still completely removed the background. Apparently, in this scene alone, they had to replace Felicity Jones's face, or they had to replace an actress's face with Felicity Jones's face because apparently Felicity Jones was not available around that time when they were filming this scene or whatever. But there's also a bunch of other cool things, like entire scenes where entire human beings were CGI, or having to make CGI blood, which I never thought would have had to be really difficult, but apparently it really was. And so, yeah, the fact that they were able to make these effects not only look really good, but also with how, you know, new these kinds of effects are, or at least like newer than some of the other, you know, movies here. That's why I'm choosing The Midnight Sky to win Best Visual Effects. So, yeah, eat your heart out, Oscars. And once again, I do absolutely expect Tenet to win Best Visual Effects at the Oscars this year, even though The Midnight Sky is the deserving winner. But whatever. So, yeah. Sorry I went on a tangent right there, but I just needed to... I'm probably going to bitch about the visual effects category more once we talk about the Oscars. So yeah, Best Hair and Makeup. Your nominees are Bill and Ted Face the Music, Borat Subsequent Movie Film, Hillbilly Elegy, Ma Rainey's Black Bottom, and Pinocchio. And the winner for Best Hair and Makeup is Pinocchio. So yeah, let's talk about Best Hair and Makeup right now. Bill and Ted Face the Music honestly had way more going on with hair and makeup than I expected a Bill and Ted movie to do. Like, there was a lot of really cool things they were doing with Bill and Ted, like whether it was like, you know, aging, or having those two Bill and Ted characters who were like prisoners and like they were really buff and whatnot. Like, that looked really cool. Borat Subsequent Movie Film, the reason why I chose that as a nomination is because like, on paper, this makeup really should not fool anyone. Or, like, the hair and makeup here should not fool anyone. But somehow it did. Like, it somehow fooled a bunch of idiots into, into not realizing that they were talking to Borat, which, I'm, like, because, like, considering how Borat was, like, a big cultural phenomenon in 2006, and I don't know, like, but, like, yeah. Hillbilly Elegy. I didn't like Hillbilly Elegy, but the way they transformed Glenn Close's character to look like the real-life grandma, was spectacular. Like, she looks uncanny. So that's why that got a nomination. Ma Rainey's Black Bottom also had some pretty good hair and makeup, but the reason why I chose Pinocchio is because Pinocchio, once again, it's doing things with hair and makeup I've never seen before in my life. Like, I would have never thought that you could, have Pinocchio be done with makeup and whatnot and still make it feel like he's made out of wood. And yet somehow they still were able to do that. But it's not just him. You also have some characters that look like birds, some characters that look like apes or whatnot. It's astounding what they were able to accomplish with the makeup and hair department in Pinocchio. This was masterful work. I hope this wins at the Oscars. It probably won't win in the Oscars. It's probably going to go to Ma Rainey's Black Bottom, but whatever. You heard it here first. Like, I think Pinocchio did a great job. And so, we get to the next category, which is Best Costume Design. And the nominees are Emma, Jingle Jangle, A Christmas Journey, Mank, Mulan, and Pinocchio. And the winner for Best Costume Design is Pinocchio, once again. Why did I choose Pinocchio again? Well, the costumes in this movie are insane. Like, I've never seen costumes. Like, if you don't know what this character is, she's like this snail lady character, and that's all a costume. That's a full-on costume. That is insane. Once again, as I keep saying before, this is doing things I've never seen before. I've never seen, I didn't know you could do this with costumes and whatnot. Like, once again, I thought you would have to use CGI for this. But, man, the ingenuity with the costumes in this is so good. And it's not even just her. There's there's also just some great other kinds of fantasy costumes and whatnot. Like the fairy, I think it's the blue fairy. Her costume is magnificent. Everything about the way the costumes are done in Pinocchio is so good. And once again, I feel like I feel like Pinocchio is not going to win the costume design Oscar. I think it's probably going to be Ma Rainey's Black Bottom once again, but again, this is my show, and in my show, I choose Pinocchio. So, yeah. Moving on to the next category, we have Best Production Design, and the nominees are The Father, Mank, The Midnight Sky, Mulan, and Tenet. And the winner for Best Production Design goes to Tenet. Now, why did I choose Tenet for production design? Well, a lot of when you look into the filmmaking of Tenet, a lot of this relied on creating sets that would make it easier for the cinematographers and whatnot, or just basically the crew in general, to film scenes one way, and then later on in the film, film them in a reverse timeline. Which I know it sounds really strange, but you would have to watch Tenet and watch some of the breakdowns of Tenet when it came special features and whatnot. Because this was insane what they were able to do with Tenet in terms of constructing sets that would allow the filmmakers to just complete, like, to be able to film one scene in a normal timeline and filming the other one in a reverse timeline, which doesn't sound complicated, but apparently it really was, when also considering that they were using things like when they were also using things like just these big IMAX film cameras. These are film cameras, not digital cameras and whatnot. So there's that, but I can't even really do it justice with that. But yeah, some of the other nominees, like The Father. The Father, initially I didn't nominate The Father, and when I saw it nominated for the Best Production Design Oscar, I was like, huh? But then I looked more into it, and I was like, oh, wow, the production design actually bled into the story. And reason being is that, I'll get to it later, but yeah, I'll get to The Father a little bit later. But then you also have Mank, which did a great job in setting up this world that, in the era of Citizen Kane. I know I keep saying that, but the movie did a great job in making the sets look like it was all part of Citizen Kane. And Mulan had some great sets as well. Making it feel like in that aspect, and in like the costume design aspect, Mulan really did bring those elements of the animated film to life, and they did a great job with costume design and production design. But now we get to the category of Best Film Editing, and the nominees are The Father, Mank, Tenet, The Trial of the Chicago 7, and The Vast of Night. And the winner for Best Film Editing goes to The Father. Let's talk about some of the nominees for film editing and whatnot. Mank had some really cool transitional kind of editing and whatnot. Like, once again, like, it would edit itself like how a movie back then would edit itself. But there's also like these fun little typewriter kind of transitions that are also really cool. Tenet was mine. Tenet actually almost won Best Film Editing for me because of the way it like fucked with your mind in terms of what was going in forward motion, what was going in backward motion. It was weird, but yeah, Tenet came pretty close. The Trial of the Chicago 7 uses editing to its advantage in telling the entire story of how the whole situation of the Trial of the Chicago 7 went down. So that was a plus. And also, The Vast of Night. Once again, in trying to tell that mystery, the movie did some great tricks with editing and whatnot, and kept the pace going. All that was so good. But the reason why The Father won is because basically The Father is about a man who is about this old man with Alzheimer's. And if you don't know what Alzheimer's is, it really just fucks with your brain when you're old. You start forgetting things, you start mixing up time and whatnot, and the father puts you, the viewer, in his perspective. To where, like, you're just as confused as he is. Like, sometimes he sees his daughter as a completely different person. Sometimes, things repeat themselves with time and whatnot. And the film just has this really... It's just eerie. The editing is so eerie in how it puts you in this guy's perspective. And that's why The Father won. It used the editing to its advantage, really, within the story. Because if it hadn't been for the edit, how do I explain it? A lot of the way this movie is told is through the editing. So yeah, that's why The Father wins. And now we get to Best Cinematography, and the nominees are Da 5 Bloods, I'm Thinking of Ending Things, Mank, Tenet, and The Vast of Night. And your winner for Best Cinematography is The Vast of Night, Now, once again, Tenet actually almost won, but this is almost like a last-minute decision for me to choose The Vast of Night. And let me talk about some of the nominees here. The Five Bloods... I'm going to be honest. The Five Bloods and Tenet missing out on cinematography shocked me. Maybe, with Tenet, we already have an explanation for Tenet missing out on cinematography, because, once again, Warner Brothers did not have a for your consideration campaign for the film. Warner Brothers did not have a for your consideration campaign going for Tenet, so that's probably why it missed a cinematography nomination. But The Five Bloods? Really? The Five Bloods used cinematography so well. Because, the film would, very well, change aspect ratios. When it's just when they're in, Vietnam, the city Vietnam, it's just, the sort of typical kind of movie aspect ratio. When the characters go out into the Vietnamese wilderness and whatnot, where there was, former war grounds, it gets this, this really big aspect ratio. And whenever it flashes back to the Vietnam War, not only does the aspect ratio change to reflect that era, but it's also a lot more grainy. The cinematography in The Five Bloods was so good. It might be, in my opinion, Spike Lee's best shot movie in terms of just cinematography alone. So I was shocked when I found out that The Five Bloods, missed out on a cinematography nomination. I'm thinking of ending things. I'm going to be honest, I did not like this movie. I did not like I'm thinking of ending things. If anything, I thought it was actually kind of pretentious. And whatnot with its storytelling, but I can't deny how beautiful the cinematography of that movie was. A lot of these are just, painting shots. Oh, God, it's so good. And with, Mank, once again, putting us in the world of its story. And the cinematography definitely helped that. And I just realized Mank is literally the only movie I have nominated that is nominated for Best Cinematography at the Oscars. And Mank isn't even my choice to win. Not even, it might be my... Out of all my nominations, The Five Bloods, I'm thinking of anything, Mank, Tenet, and The Vast of Night, Mank might actually be my fourth choice overall to win in this award show. So, God, it's just sad. It's sad, really. If you know that reference, let me know. So, yeah. And Tenet, the way Tenet would shoot its scenes, its action scenes, as if they were in reverse, is so good and so well thought out. Again, that's why Tenet almost won this. But the reason why I give this to The Vast of Night is that The Vast of Night has... The Vast of Night, I think, was made for, only... Hey, Google? What was the budget for The Vast of Night?
The Vast of Night had a budget of $700,000.
Yeah, $700,000. That's how small this movie's budget was. And yet they have these really long takes. There's this one long take that you can actually look up online. Oh my God, it goes on forever. It goes on forever throughout such a long, span of the world and what a large span of just land and whatnot. Now, a lot of that was stitched together, but that's honest, and that's probably what got its film editing nomination here at the Nerdy Movie Awards. But the fact they were able to pull off all these long shots, these beautiful long shots and whatnot, especially on a budget of $700,000, that's really low. So yeah, that's why The Vast of Night wins. It's a beautiful technical achievement on such a small budget, but also, once again, I should also feel like a lot of the times, The Vast of Night also kind of puts the camera in a perspective where it's almost like the camera's pursuing something, and we don't know what it is. That's part of the big mystery of The Vast of Night. It's so well done in how the camera helps tell the story. So, yeah, that's why it won. Anyways, here are the nominees for Best Female Voiceover or Performance Capture. Tina Fey for Soul, Angelina Jolie for the one and only Ivan, Honor Neefsey for Wolfwalkers, Brooklyn Prince for the one and only Ivan, and Eva Whittaker for Wolfwalkers. And the winner for Best Female Voiceover or Performance Capture is Tina Fey for Soul. Why did I choose Tina Fey? Well, she, like, how do I describe it? Her voice, now, granted, I don't, like, how do I describe it? It's like, Tina Fey just blended into this character so well to where I literally forgot, like, I forgot that she was Tina Fey. And, like, somehow this character, like, also, she somehow managed to make this character, comedic relief, but at the same time, not be extremely annoying. And that's hard to do. And that's one thing I was kind of worried about going into this movie. It's like, is Tina Fey's character gonna be annoying? But no, she was funny in just the right moments and serious in just the perfect moments. And once again, she blended into this role so well. And so that's why I chose Tina Fey for Best Female Voiceover or Performance Capture. But now let's get to the male side of things with Best Male Voiceover or Performance Capture. Sean Bean for Wolfwalkers, Nicolas Cage for The Croods: A New Age, Jamie Foxx for Soul, Tom Holland for Onward, and Ben Schwartz for Sonic the Hedgehog. And the winner for Best Male Voiceover or Performance Capture is Nicolas Cage for The Croods: A New Age, which is surprise. Initially, this is actually the final film I needed to see when it came to the animation categories and whatnot. And Nicolas Cage for The Croods: New Age honestly kind of surprised me, because Nicolas Cage put in way more effort than he needed to in this role. Not in a serious way, but in a comedic way. This, oh my god, you would think that for an animated movie they wouldn't need to have crazy Nicolas Cage moments, but I swear to god, I think Nicolas Cage's voice is crazier than his character's animation. He just goes all out in this movie, freaking out and whatnot. Yeah, it's Nicolas Cage, we expect that, but Jesus Christ, he's so, he put everything into this role, and it's just insane. Of course, yeah, you had great dramatic work with Sean Bean from Wolfwalkers. Jamie Foxx was a really cool, calm presence in Soul. Tom Holland was really good in Onward, and Ben Schwartz from Sonic the Hedgehog, once again, kind of disappeared into the role. But I just gotta say, Nicolas Cage, he just went all out crazy in this movie. And so I gotta commend him for that. And now we get to the category of Best Animated Film. And your nominees are Onward, Scoob, Soul, Wolfwalkers, and your winner, the winner for Best Animated Film goes to Soul. I mean, that should have been kind of obvious, considering Soul's nominated for Best Movie of 2020, and so, it's kind of a spoiler at this point, but regardless, Soul was, if you saw my most anticipated movies of 2020 yet, you would know that I loved Soul. I loved every minute of that movie. I should probably also, I'm getting too far ahead of myself. Basically, when I heard the premise of Soul, I was ecstatic. I was like, yes. Knowing that Pixar was going to be going into, what comes after death and whatnot. Because that's always something that fascinated me. Again, if you guys don't know, I'm not religious. I'm more agnostic than anything. So I don't know if there's an afterlife or not. I don't think we can prove that. But I thought Soul did a great job in helping answer the question. Actually, technically, more so it focuses on what comes before life. But it does sort of hint at what happens after death and whatnot. With when you see you would see all these souls that just died going up to the great beyond, and it's a very calming movie. And I thought Soul did that so well. Like, it's funny, it's really dramatic in the best way possible, and even when this movie threatens to be stupid, it manages to do it just right. Mainly when it comes to this thing revolving around a cat. Like, that could have gone so wrong so easily, but they found just the right amount of it to be funny and not make that overbearing. Soul, I thought, did that so perfectly, and honestly, this is like in my top 5 Pixar movies ever. Like, this just blew me away in every sense. And even having a moral in the movie that you don't really hear a lot of. I'm not going to say what the moral is, but it's not what you think it's going to be. It's not what you think. Why do I keep looking at... Okay, I'm sorry. My screen is right there. I don't know why I keep looking over that thing. But, yeah, Soul, I thought, was just wonderful in every sense. And of course, and as you saw, there were only 4 nominees for Best Animated Film. I really liked Cruise the New Age, but I didn't think it was good enough to be nominated. Let's see, Shaun the Sheep movie, Farmageddon, again, really liked that, but I don't think it matches up to some of these movies. I actually just did not like, what was it called? I just did not like Over the Moon. Like, I wish I liked Over the Moon because, like, it has some phenomenal visuals, but, and of course, like, the Asian representation is really good as well, but in the Asian culture, my main problem with Over the Moon, though, was that it became, it felt like a really big Disney ripoff. Like this really random musical sequences, and I could literally predict what was going to happen. Like, there was like this one character that showed up who I was like, let me get this. This character is going to die, aren't they? And soon enough, I was like, yep, this character's dying. This is like, I thought we were past this. It's like, I thought we were past this time of predictable character deaths, where it's like, you just see this character and you automatically know they're just going to die. It, like, that, like, nah. But, yeah, I only had 4 nominees this year. I already talked about Soul. Let me talk about some of the other ones. Wolfwalkers, oh my god, is wonderful. Like, it's one of the most gorgeous 2D, like hand-drawn animated movies I've ever seen. The storytelling is so good. The music is so good. It's written so well, played so well. It's just great. Onward, I thought was a really fun Pixar film. Great. It gets a lot better, especially around the end. And I thought it was well worth it. And I'm not gonna lie, I thought Scoob was the Scooby-Doo movie we should have gotten all along. Like, I never liked I shouldn't say I never liked, like, when I was a kid, I liked the live-action Scooby-Doo movies, but looking at them as an adult, they're really dumb. They are really, really dumb. Matthew Lillard is still Shaggy. He is still, like, I don't know why, I don't know how that worked out, but for some reason, they just chose the best guy possible to play live-action Shaggy. Like, Matthew Lillard is just perfect as Shaggy in those Scooby-Doo movies. But we're not talking about those Scooby-Doo movies. We're talking about Scoob. And honestly, I thought Scoob, did everything that, the Scooby-Doo, like, did what Scooby-Doo movies like this should do. Like, yeah, at first, was it kind of weird to see that they were going to be doing superheroes? Yeah. But again, it was done so well. And it really I feel like, because it was just all about Hanna-Barbera, it helped out a little bit more. Like, it was able to, like, it was like, okay, it's not just like this, big superhero movie. It's really more along the lines of, it's just this Hanna-Barbera universe. And it was relentlessly funny, really phenomenal, like, comedic animation, amazing storyboarding. and the speed of the animation. Scoob, I think it's maybe one of the most underrated animated movies I've ever seen. Scoob, I thought, was just fantastic in every sense. So, yeah. Regardless, let's move on to the next category. Best Villain. And your nominees are Jim Carrey for Sonic the Hedgehog, Jonathan Groff for Hamilton, and Frank Langella, or is it Langella? I don't know, for the Trial of the Chicago 7. And your winner for Best Villain is Jim Carrey for Sonic the Hedgehog. Again, this was actually a really, really tough race. Because, again, Jonathan Groff from Hamilton, oh my god, he's so funny. And whatnot, like, you'll be back, soon you'll see, you remember you belong to me. Like, if you haven't seen Hamilton, go watch Hamilton, it's so good. And then you have Frank Langella from the Trial of the Chicago 7, which you would swear they just made a lot of his character up for dramatic purposes in the film. But no, like, apparently he was one of the most accurate representations in the entire movie, where it's like, yeah, this judge, this really mean, awful judge was like this, and a lot of people like really thought he like have come to the conclusion that he may have actually had mental health issues. It's insane. Like, that was just insane. But the reason why I chose Jim Carrey for Sonic the Hedgehog is because, like, this is this was a really weird casting choice when it was announced. Jim Carrey as Dr. Robotnik. I was like, Robotnik? Like, I mean, I love Jim Carrey, but Robotnik? Like, this is weird. Like, what kind of Robotnik is this going to be? Granted, I don't really play the Sonic games. I was more of a Mario man myself. Mario for life. Mario for fucking life. Yeah, but I knew about Dr. Robotnik. Actually, I knew him more as Eggman. I knew him more as Eggman, but I didn't know his name was Robotnik. But even from, like, the first shitty trailer for Sonic the Hedgehog, with that really shitty design of Sonic, even then, I thought he was the best. I thought Jim Carrey was the best part of that trailer. I was like, well, I mean, this trailer's awful, but Jim Carrey is actually still pretty funny. And wouldn't you know it, Jim Carrey stole every scene in this movie. Hell, honestly, this would have just been like an average movie had it not been for Jim Carrey, in my opinion. Like, Jim Carrey elevated everything to such a great degree. Like, I don't know what it is. Jim Carrey just never phones in a performance. He just never phones it in. Say what you will about Jim Carrey, even his movies, but he never phones in a performance. He always puts 110% into everything. And I thought what Jim Carrey did with Robotnik, I thought was really good. I thought it was really funny. And since they're filming Sonic the Hedgehog 2 right now, I'm just glad that Jim Carrey finally has a franchise that he can latch onto. And yeah, because of how much he elevated the film itself, that's why I'm choosing Jim Carrey for Best Villain at the Nerdy Movie Awards. And now we get to the category of Best Hero, in which we have our nominees, and they are Kingsley Ben-Adir for One Night in Miami, Chadwick Boseman for Da 5 Bloods, Christopher Jackson for Hamilton, and Lin-Manuel Miranda for Hamilton. And the winner for Best Hero is Christopher Jackson for Hamilton. Now, let's talk about some of the nominees here. Kingsley Ben-Adir for his portrayal of Malcolm X. I thought it was really good. And honestly, I've come, I was raised, I really didn't, for the most part when I was a kid, mainly due to my dad's awful views on things, I was always told that, Malcolm X was the bad one. He was the bad civil rights activist. But really, no, he wasn't bad. Malcolm X had a different method of trying to get equality. I mean, because basically, Malcolm X is, I was always told, Malcolm X was just violent. He was just violent. But it was a lot deeper than that. It wasn't just, Malcolm X was the violent civil rights activist. No, his philosophy was more like, look, if we're gonna get, if you come beat me up for the color of my skin, I'm gonna beat you up right back. Like, it's really more of a sense of, like, you push me, I push you. He's just not gonna tolerate it. He was a fighter more than anything. Like, that's the best way I can describe it. And really, I feel like, I really, we really kind of, as a people, what's the term I'm looking for? Overlook Malcolm X's impact on the civil rights movement. And I feel like, Kingsley Ben-Adir did that wonderfully, and again showed that he wasn't just violent; he was still diplomatic and whatnot. It's just his philosophy was, you push me, you come, if you're violent towards me, I'm gonna be violent towards you. Like, I don't take that shit. And I thought, Kingsley Ben-Adir really did put that into perspective. Chadwick Boseman for Da 5 Bloods. Once again, rest in peace, Chadwick Boseman. But that's not why I nominated him. Actually, his character was like a big beacon of hope in that film, and I thought Chadwick Boseman did a great job portraying that. And of course, you have Lin-Manuel Miranda in Hamilton, where he was, Alexander Hamilton. I mean, yeah. But the reason why I chose Christopher Jackson for Hamilton is because this was a great casting choice for George Washington. Now people are going to go, for those of you who have never seen Hamilton, you really should. But the whole point of Hamilton is telling the story of Alexander Hamilton as if it were happening today. Now, granted, it's still set back then and whatnot, but again, it's a lot more complicated. But the way Christopher Jackson plays George Washington, I love his performance. It's really like he feels like, what's the term I'm looking for? It really does feel like, this is a man who, is a great leader, but also has to make some really tough choices, and you can see the pain in his eyes when he has to make those tough choices, but he knows it's what's best. And I thought Christopher Jackson so well, just encapsulated all of that. And so, yeah, that's why Christopher Jackson wins Best Hero for Hamilton. Anyways, now let's get to Best Ensemble Cast. And your nominees for Best Ensemble Cast are Da 5 Bloods, Ma Rainey's Black Bottom, Minari, One Night in Miami, and The Trial of the Chicago 7. And the winner for Best Ensemble is The Trial of the Chicago 7. And yeah, the reason why I chose The Trial of the Chicago 7 for this is because, man, there's so many characters that play such an integral part to this whole story. Like, there's a lot of characters in this film. And all of these actors, from, Frank Langella to, what was it? Sacha Baron Cohen to Mark Rylance to Eddie Redmayne. I'm probably forgetting a lot of names right now because there's a lot of people in this movie. Oh yeah, Michael Keaton was in this too. But The Trial of the Chicago 7, a lot of this had to rely on the cast. The cast really, again, like I said, there's just so many characters in this movie, and these actors all have to make sure, that they leave an impact and whatnot. And I thought, The Trial of the Chicago 7 cast really did do that. Oh, sorry. Oh, young again. Oh, shit. But yeah, you also have some great, ensembles with Da 5 Bloods, Ma Rainey's Black Bottom, Minari, One Night in Miami. All those, ensembles are so good, but I really do have to give it to the Trial of the Chicago 7. They all just knocked it out of the park. And now we get to the category of Best Supporting Actress. We're getting close there, guys. Maria Bakalova for Borat subsequent movie film, Ellen Burstyn for Pieces of a Woman, Glenn Close for Hillbilly Elegy, Olivia Colman for The Father, and Ye Jun-tun for Minari. And the winner for Best Supporting Actress is Maria Bakalova for Borat subsequent movie film. Okay, let's talk about this. Like, initially when I saw this movie, like I didn't expect Maria Bakalova to get so much awards praise as she did. She won the Critics' Choice Award for Best Supporting Actress. She got nominated. She didn't get nominated for the Golden Globe for Best Supporting Actress, mainly because they pushed her for the lead actress in a musical or comedy category. But even then, she got the BAFTA nomination for Best Supporting Actress, and then the Oscar nomination for Best Supporting Actress, which is so shocking because this is not at all the kind of movie you would expect a woman or anyone like this to be nominated for an Oscar when it comes to acting in one of these things. Like, it's a prank movie, but I think for one, she's again, she plays she's honestly a relative newcomer when it comes to acting. This is one of her her first big break. But how do I describe her? She plays the comedy off so well, but also she plays off the drama so well. And when mixing comedy and drama in some scenes, she does a really great job. And of course, let's talk about the Rudy Giuliani scene. Good God, Rudy Giuliani was touching her and whatnot. It was just uncomfortable to watch, and yet she completely stayed in character, stayed completely cool to where he was none the wiser. That is astounding. And so, I was shocked at how again, it's one of those performances that you don't really think of as brilliant at first, but then when you actually start delving into it, it's like, oh wait, this is why her performance is so brilliant and whatnot. And so that's why Maria Bakalova gets Best Supporting Actress. And once again, you have a lot of other great performances in there. Like Ellen Burstyn, I actually thought was maybe one of the more underrated performances of the year. She did not get the only major awards body she got nominated for Best Supporting Actress was in the Critics' Choice Awards. No Golden Globe nomination, no BAFTA nomination, no Oscar nomination. I thought Ellen Burstyn killed it in Pieces of a Woman. I'm shocked that she didn't get this much love. Glenn Close and Hillbilly Elegy, once again, didn't like the movie, but I thought Glenn Close did a phenomenal job. Olivia Colman did a great job in The Father, and I do think Ye Jun-tun is going to win Best Supporting Actress at the Oscars for Minari. But like I said, my choice is Maria Bakalova. Anywho, let's get to the nominees for Best Supporting Actor. And your nominees are Chadwick Boseman for The Five Bloods, Tom Burke for Mank, Delroy Lindo for The Five Bloods, Leslie Odom Jr. for One Night in Miami, and Paul Raci for Sound of Metal. And the winner for Best Supporting Actor goes to Delroy Lindo for The Five Bloods. Now, people are going to be saying to me, wait, why'd you nominate him for Best Lead Actor? Here's the thing. Delroy Lindo, I do not believe, was the lead of that movie. I do not believe anyone was the lead of The Five Bloods. It really just felt like an ensemble piece where, everyone just kind of bounced off of one another, which is not a bad thing. I mean, hell, the Trial of the Chicago 7 was the exact same way. There's not really a lead character in that film. And I don't know why Netflix decided to push Delroy Lindo for Best Lead Actor, because, again, he wasn't the lead. And I can tell he wasn't because, even though everyone praised the shit out of his performance, and everyone was thinking he was going to get a nomination, I think there was a lot of confusion at the Academy, because Netflix pushed him for Best Lead Actor, but a lot of people, like me, think he was more of a supporting role in an ensemble cast. And so when you have like this, like, you know, Delroy Lindo, and people are voting for him in two separate categories, they end up canceling each other out. And I think that's exactly what happened with Delroy Lindo here. And yeah, it's just because he is fantastic, and he does deserve a supporting actor win, but I just don't think he was a lead character. But that's it. And again, yeah. But you also have some great performances, like Chadwick Boseman in Da 5 Bloods was phenomenal in his role. Tom Burke in Mank. Many people, I feel like Tom Burke is one of the more overlooked performances because he plays Orson Welles in the movie Mank, and he nails Orson Welles to a T. He nails the look of Orson Welles. He nails the voice of Orson Welles. He nails the mannerisms of Orson Welles. He's Orson Welles in that movie. Like, it's insane how much he seems like Orson Welles. It's and Leslie Odom Jr. once again did a great job in One Night in Miami, and you also have Paul Raci from Sound of Metal, who gave probably one of the most genuine performances of the year, where we're like, actually, where I don't know if you guys know this, but apparently Paul Raci, even though he plays a deaf person in the movie, but however, even though Paul Raci is not deaf, his parents actually are deaf. And so a lot of that just came second nature to him, and it once again made his performance feel so natural. And initially, people weren't really expecting him to get nominated for the Oscar, because he didn't get nominated in the Golden Globes. But then, so I was like, okay, I guess, and the Golden Globes are like a pretty big indicator of who's going to get nominated. I'm trying to remember, did he get nominated for the SAG Award? I'm not sure. But, like, it was kind of uncertain as to whether or not Paul Raci was going to get a nomination for Best Supporting Actor at the Oscars. But then, sure enough, he did. And I thought that was just great. And, of the Oscar nominees, I would probably choose him to win, but mainly because Delroy Lindo isn't nominated, because I feel like he was more of a supporting actor than a lead actor. Delroy Lindo, but regardless, in the Nerdy Movie Awards, Delroy Lindo is the champion for Best Supporting Actor. Now you get to the nominees for Best Lead Actress, and the nominees are Viola Davis for Ma Rainey's Black Bottom, Sydney Flanagan for Never, Rarely, Sometimes, Always, Vanessa Kirby for Pieces of a Woman, Frances McDormand for Nomadland, and Carey Mulligan for Promising Young Woman. And the winner for Best Lead Actress in the Nerdy Movie Awards this year goes to Sydney Flanagan for Never, Rarely, Sometimes, Always. Now, this was a tight race. Hell, I'm not even sure who's going to win the Oscar for Best Lead Actress, because it's just so all over the place. But let's talk about some of these nominees. Viola Davis was great in Ma Rainey's Black Bottom. I don't really know what else to say. It's Viola Davis. She's great. She does lose a few points, though, mainly due to she's playing a musician, but yet she's not actually singing. And I feel like if you're playing a musician, you should be able to sing. I mean, you look at, even though I didn't nominate her in the Nerdy Movie Awards this year, because unlike other award shows, I'm only doing 2020 movies, and this movie technically came out in 2021. But Andra Day for what's that movie called? The United States versus Billie Holiday. Andra Day in that movie, I thought, did a more challenging job than Viola Davis, because Andra Day actually did sing her performance. Like, she played Billie Holiday. She actually did sing in the movie. She physically sung, and I feel like if you're playing a musician, you should be able to sing. So Viola Davis does lose a few points for that. Vanessa Kirby, I'm not going to tell you why this performance, like Vanessa Kirby for Pieces of a Woman, I'm not going to tell you why she's so good in the movie. All I will say is that she is an emotional wreck in that film in the best way possible in terms of quality. Like having to carry the weight of everything that's built up in that film on her shoulders is just frightening. And as a man, I could never imagine having to go through any of that. So there's that. Frances McDormand and Nomadland. I actually am one of the very few people on this planet that did not like Nomadland. I might have to do another top 10. I might have to do another 10 movies that I don't like that everyone else loves list. But I didn't like Nomadland. But I will say Frances McDormand was again one of the most naturalistic performances of the year. She felt so genuine in the movie. I have nothing to complain about her performance. And Carey Mulligan in Promising Young Woman was I don't know how to describe her performance. Determined? I don't know. It's because in Promising Young Woman, she plays a character. She plays a woman who pretty much hunts. Who pretty much not like literally hunts, but figuratively hunts down rapists. And her performance is wicked in that film. So there's that. But the reason why I chose Sydney Flanagan is honestly for some of the same reasons why for Vanessa Kirby for Pieces of a Woman, who almost won this category before I saw Never Really, Sometimes, Always. And the reason why I chose her is if you don't know what Never Really, Sometimes, Always is about, it's about this girl who gets pregnant and she needs to try to get an abortion. And this film, I'm going to talk about a little bit later, but this film is magnificent, and a lot of this is put on the shoulders of Sydney Flanagan's performance. She, again, as a man, I could never understand, I could never fully, relate to what she's going through, and it frightens me that a lot of women have to go through this, especially young women like this character. Like having to go through like the judgments of going through an abortion, or even worse, like the constant sexual harassment. And she plays this so well. And there's there in the scene in the movie where she before she has the abortion, where she's reading these questions and she has to answer either never, really, sometimes, or always. That's where the title. That scene just showcases everything regarding her emotions in this movie, and it's so good. She feels so vulnerable emotionally in this film, and it's, oh my god, you have to see this movie. It's on HBO Max, so yeah, I'm going to talk more about this movie later on, but that's why Sydney Flanagan has won Best Lead Actress. Now, we get to Best Lead Actor, and the nominees are Riz Ahmed for Sound of Metal, Chadwick Boseman for Ma Rainey's Black Bottom, Anthony Hopkins for The Father, Gary Oldman for Mank, and Steven Yeun for Minari. And the winner for Best Lead Actor is Anthony Hopkins for The Father. Now, let's talk about some of these nominees, like Riz Ahmed in Sound of Metal. Oh my god, I never thought Riz Ahmed could be this good in a movie. I always thought he was good, but I didn't know he could be this good. Again, the emotions he pulls out in that movie are so good. Gary Oldman in Mank. I mean, it's Gary Oldman. Gary Oldman's amazing in everything he does. Steven Yeun in Minari. Once again, showed us a side of Steven Yeun that I did not think I really underestimated his level as an actor when it comes to acting. I mean, I always knew he was good, but I didn't know he was going to be like Oscar worthy good or Oscar nomination worthy good. And yeah, I did end up choosing Anthony Hopkins over Chadwick Boseman. And don't get me wrong, Chadwick Boseman was going to win this until I saw The Father. Like what? Because Chadwick Boseman there's some people out there who's I do think, okay, now I will say these are this actually the only category in the Nerdy Movie Awards where it's all my choices completely reflect the Oscars choices. All the Oscar nominees for Best Lead Actor this year are the exact same ones that I would give to that I would give in the Nerdy Movie Awards. So hey, that's cool. I do think Chadwick Boseman is going to he's going to win the Oscar for Best Lead Actor. And look, I don't he's not some people are trying to say, oh well, he's only going to win this because he died. No, that is absolutely not true. Because here's the thing. Robin Williams didn't get an Oscar nomination, for Night at the Museum, Secret of the Tomb. Carrie Fisher didn't get a nomination for Best Supporting Actress for Star Wars The Last Jedi. No. And those two, I would argue, made a bigger, had much longer, more extensive careers than Chadwick Boseman did. But, no. And people are going to go, well, those are Oscar caliber movies. It's well, what's your point then? The point is, Chadwick Boseman is not winning the Oscar because he died. He's winning this because he was that good. Again, would my choice for Best Actor be Anthony Hopkins for The Father? And I'll get into his performance here in a bit. Yeah, it would be. My choice would be Anthony Hopkins. But do I think it's egregious that Chadwick Boseman is winning over him? No, because Chadwick Boseman was also phenomenal. He gave the performance of his life in that film. Really, it's not, it's not Underwater getting snubbed for a visual effects nomination, and, movies like Mulan and Tenet getting a nomination. That's different. There's actual technical aspects I can argue for in those movies. But when it comes to the performance alone, I mean, yeah, Chadwick Boseman wouldn't be my choice to win, but I'm not shocked that he's winning because he was phenomenal in that film. But yeah, why did I choose Anthony Hopkins for The Father? This is, in my opinion, easily Anthony Hopkins' best performance I've seen from him. He plays this old man with Alzheimer's, and again, I feel like he plays it off so well. He plays, sometimes he's so confident and whatnot, oh, I'm so cool, trying to show off, but then other times, especially, he just feels so vulnerable. Again, I did not know Anthony Hopkins was capable of a performance like this. He's so freaking good in the film. Oh my god, and feeling so confused and whatnot, He is just phenomenal. He is just phenomenal in The Father. And yeah, he's my choice to win Best Lead Actor, but even though Chadwick Boseman is going to win, it's not egregious. It's not egregious that Chadwick Boseman is beating Anthony Hopkins. It's A1, AB. You're getting two. Either one is phenomenal. It's just my pick would be Anthony Hopkins. And now we get to the nominees for Best Adapted Screenplay. And your nominees are Borat Subsequent Movie Film, written by Sacha Baron Cohen, Anthony Hines, Dan Swimer, Peter Bainham, Erica Rivenoja, Dan Mazer, Jenna Friedman, and Lee Kern. The Father, written by Florian Zeller and Christopher Hampton. The Invisible Man, written by Lee Winnell. Ma Rainey's Black Bottom, written by Ruben Santiago Hudson. And One Night in Miami, written by Kemp Powers. And the winner for for Best Adapted Screenplay is Borat subsequent movie film, written by Sacha Baron Cohen, Anthony Hines, Dan Swimer, Peter Bainham, Erica Rivenoja, Dan Mazer, Jenna Friedman, and Lee Kern. Now, why did I choose Borat subsequent movie film? Well, Borat subsequent movie film was exactly what we needed for 2020. Like 2020 was an awful year. You know, you had COVID, going around. You had, the Trump supporters were just as awful as ever. And Borat's subsequent movie film really did, shine a light on everything that was shitty with 2020 and making fun of it. Making fun of, a bunch of idiots, QAnon conspiracy theorists. Like, Borat subsequent movie film was just everything that we needed for 2020. And its story is so good, especially around the end. Oh my god. The way everything just comes together in the end is so clever and so funny. Like, I dare not. Like, again, this is on Amazon Prime. Please, I'm begging you, watch Borat subsequent movie film. It is just hilarious. So, yeah, that is why. And let's talk about some of the other nominees. The Father, I think The Father is going to win the Oscar for Best Adapted Screenplay. I'm not going to complain too much, though. The Father was written wonderfully. The Invisible Man also written really, really well. Excuse me. Ma Rainey's Black Bottom had this, stage play feel to it, which is ironic because it was based on a stage play. And One Night Miami, once again, was written just so well. So, sorry. So, yeah. Now let's get to Best Original Screenplay. And the nominees are Pieces of a Woman, written by Kata Weber. Soul, written by Pete Docter, Mike Jones, and Kemp Powers. Sound of Metal, written by Darius Martyr and Abraham Martyr. The Trial of the Chicago 7, written by Aaron Sorkin. The Vast of Night, written by James Montague and Craig W. Sanger. And the winner for Best Original Screenplay is Soul, written by Pete Docter, Mike Jones, and Kemp Powers. Now, let's talk about some of these nominees. Let's talk about some of the nominees. Pieces of a Woman. Good God, once again, as I said, that film, hell, I'm not gonna lie, Best Original Screenplay was one of the toughest categories to nominate, because there were quite a few that missed out on a nomination. Like, Tenet missed out on a nomination, Never, Rarely, Sometimes, Always missed out on a nomination. This category was just really, really tough. So yeah, but anyways, Pieces of a Woman, again, as a man, I could never imagine myself going through what that film presents. And it does it so well. The screenplay is heartbreaking. It is like a knife just digging right into you, just with some truth. It is just gut-wrenching. Sound of Metal, in other ways, is very gut-wrenching and emotional, but it's also just, again, everything just feels so naturalistic. And the way we see this narrative and the story is just done so well once again. And the Trial of Chicago 7, when it comes to things like confrontational writing, you can't get much better than Aaron Sorkin. Like, Aaron Sorkin is the king of confrontational dialogue. Like, it's so good, and it just comes all together so well in the Trial of Chicago 7. So yeah, and The Vast of Night, once again, this film really slept under the radar. This film really did have how do I describe it? It's like the writing is so good. Again, with the whole mystery aspect of it, it's like the more you find the more you find out, the crazier it somehow gets. But I just can't really, it's hard to put that into words with The Vast of Night. It's just done so well. But anyways, why did I pick Soul for Best Original Screenplay? Well, I mean, Soul really is like this, how do I describe it? Remember what I mentioned earlier about why I love Soul so much, and how, it tells the, how, what comes after death and whatnot. A lot of that is also in the writing. The writing is so good in this film. So clever. And oddly enough, Kemp Powers, it was actually recently announced that Kemp Powers is going to be one of the directors for Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse 2, which gets me really excited. And he also was nominated earlier nominated for Best Adapted Screenplay for One Night Miami, which he also has an Oscar nomination for. I think he was Kemp Powers was also the co-director of Soul, although not officially in the actual director credit. But Kemp Powers just did a phenomenal job helping write Soul, as well as Pete Docter and Mike Jones. Pete Docter is just animation legend. But we'll get to him a little bit later. But yeah, Soul is the winner for Best Original Screenplay. And now we get to Best Director. We're getting pretty close here, guys. Pete Docter for Soul. Eliza Hittman for Never, Rarely, Sometimes, Always. Darius Martyr for Sound of Metal. Christopher Nolan for Tenet. And Jason Wallner for Borat Subsequent Movie Film. And the winner for Best Director in the Nerdy Movie Awards is Christopher Nolan for Tenet. Now, let's talk about some of these nominees. Pete Docter for Soul. This dude is an animation legend. I feel like one of these days people are going to hold him up to the standards of that of which Walt Disney or Hayao Miyazaki or something like that. Because Pete Docter is just phenomenal. He's all of his movies, in my opinion, are practically perfect. He was one of the directors of Monsters Inc. So he did a phenomenal job at that. Then he did Up, which again, one of the best Pixar movies I've seen. Inside Out, again, one of the best Pixar movies I've seen. And now Soul is also one of the best Pixar movies I've ever seen. I don't know what it is about Pete Docter, but he keeps knocking it out of the park. Even John Lasseter, as great, granted controversies aside, as great as he would do with some of his movies, he still also made Cars 2. And while I liked Cars, it's not one of my favorite Pixar movies, and neither was Toy Story or Toy Story 2 or A Bug's Life. So, again, those movies were great, but not my top 10 best, Pixar movies, and especially not Cars 2, which is one of the only Pixar movies I think is bad, which kind of does, knock him down a few notches. But with Andrew Stanton, I love The Incredibles. I love Finding Nemo, and I love Finding Dory, but I wasn't the biggest fan of WALL-E. I thought it was okay, but I didn't love WALL-E. I liked it, but I didn't love it. So, yeah, I wouldn't put him in the conversation either. Pete Docter is just, in my opinion, the best guy Pixar's ever gotten. And now that he's the head of Pixar, this was a no-brainer. And plus, also, the way he directed Soul, I thought was phenomenal. Eliza Hittman for Never, Rarely, Sometimes, Always. She's actually, if I'm not mistaken, she's the first woman ever nominated for a Best Director Nerdy Movie Award. So, there you go. But unlike some directors, I didn't like Nomadland. I mean, no shade on Chloe Zhao, but I just didn't like Nomadland, and that's kind of the director's responsibility. I'm still looking forward to whatever she does in the future, but Nomadland just didn't do it for me. I liked Promising Young Woman, but it wasn't one of the best movies I saw last year. So so Emerald Fennell couldn't quite crack it for me. Trying to think of who else. I can't really think of anyone else. But with Eliza Hittman, Never, Rarely, Sometimes, Always was just how do I describe the movie? It's like it really does ask the tough questions and whatnot, or puts you in the I don't know how to describe it. It's like, once again, like I said, it's a movie about where this teenage girl goes to have an abortion, but it's a lot more delicate than that. It's a lot more the movie is very simple, but it does have a flowing narrative. Like, my problem with Nomadland was it was a little bit too simple to where there was no narrative, and it was just kind of just watching this one woman walk around and talk to people and whatnot, and there just wasn't a narrative. Whereas with Never, Rarely, Sometimes, Always, there was a narrative. There was a narrative there. And yeah, it's told simply, but there is, in fact, a narrative. And I thought the way this, it was done, only a woman could have, successfully directed that movie. And I thought Eliza Hittman did a phenomenal job with that film. Darius Martyr with Sound of Metal, I thought did a great job representing, the deaf community, and the way he was able to direct the film in a way where he puts us in the perspective of this guy who's going deaf was just so well done. And Jason Woliner for Borat's subsequent movie film. You may be wondering why I chose him for a nomination. Well, that's actually because, this, when you look at some of the behind the scenes stuff that went on regarding Borat 2, there were many times where either Sacha Baron Cohen or what's her name, Maria Bakalova, were in legit could have been in legit danger. Hell, after the whole performance, stage performance scene in Borat 2, Sacha Baron Cohen, almost, so many, crazy things happened. One man almost pulled a gun on him. People were trying to barge into the truck or whatever. It's insane. You have to look this up for yourselves, but, considering that kind of a production, it's, I gotta commend, Jason Woliner for being able to, keep everything under control, keep the entire production under control, and keeping his crew and his cast safe, which is a very important thing, maybe the most important thing a director should do. But the reason why I chose Christopher Nolan for Tenet is because, God, this guy just keeps... How does this guy keep doing it? Christopher Nolan somehow keeps, trying to one-up himself when it comes to directing, and somehow succeeds most of the time. This is probably... In terms of directing alone, directing scale alone, this is maybe Nolan's best achievement. I'm not saying it's his best movie, but when you look at how they were trying to create this movie, this would have just been impossible to think of the way he did it. With barely any CGI at all, trying to do everything in camera, but not even, as practical effects, but, as just actually doing and trying to coordinate all this. This is insane what Nolan was trying to do. He's a madman. He's a madman, I tell you. So, Nolan is, in my opinion, the greatest director, mainly because he has a damn near flawless track record and always tries to find new ways to make really smart blockbusters. Really smart, think big brain blockbusters. And doing it with as little visual effects as possible. I mean, unless that movie just so happens to be Inception or Interstellar, especially Interstellar. There's a lot of CGI in Interstellar, and that's great CGI. But given that how Christopher Nolan was able to make Tenet with barely any CGI to begin with, is one of the big reasons why I feel like he deserves this award for Best Director. And that kind of goes to why I feel like Tenet does not deserve a visual effects nomination, or especially it doesn't even deserve a win, because the more impressive thing is that Christopher Nolan was able to do Tenet without major visual effects, and that's a big thing for a director to try to do. And so yeah, that's why Christopher Nolan has won Best Director at the Nerdy Movie Awards. But anyway, guys, here's the final category, the one that you guys voted on, so don't complain to me that you didn't like this choice. Here are your nominees for Best Film of 2020 that you guys voted on. Borat, subsequent movie film. The Father. Hamilton. Never, Rarely, Sometimes, Always. One Night in Miami. Pieces of a Woman, Soul, Sound of Metal, Tenet, and The Trial of the Chicago 7. And so, here are your nominees, people. What's it going to be? Who's going to win Best Picture of the Best Film of 2020? Well, you guys voted, and your choice for the Best Film of 2020 is Soul. You guys chose Soul for Best Film of 2020. And look, let's talk about some of these movies. Actually, you know what? I might save a lot of this for my top 10 movies of 2020. Which, yeah, these are my top 10 movies of 2020, but you don't know which order they're in. No. So I'll probably talk more on that later on when I do that list. I really should try to do that list. I really should. But regardless, guys, yeah, you guys voted for Soul for Best Film of 2020, and I cannot complain. Soul is a phenomenal film, and if I'm not mistaken, it's the first animated film to win Best Film at the Nerdy Movie Awards. So, yeah, guys, I'm starting to lose my train of thought here because I've been talking for God knows how long. But regardless, yeah, hold on, let me just, But yeah, guys, what did you think of the Nerdy Movie Awards this year? I've been recording for for officially an hour and 45 minutes. So yeah, I better wrap it up here pretty quick. But yeah, those are the winners for the Nerdy Movie Awards this year. I kind of like this little format. I wish I had a guest with me, but yeah, oh well. But yeah. What do you guys think of my choices? What do you guys think of you guys voting for Soul for Best Film of 2020? I'm starting to run out of things to say right now. But regardless, yeah. I'm trying to think of what do I want to try to plug right now? Don't forget to give this video a like. Hit that, because if you hit that like button, it tells YouTube that you want to see more of this and you want to spread this channel around. It's good for the algorithm. Also, share this video on your social media, your Facebook, your Twitter, all that good stuff. And also, guys, check out my if you want to know where you can get, hold on, let me look at this real quick. If you guys want to know where you can get this Hannahcast shirt, it's so good. Well, you can head on over to my Teespring store, which is christiansreviews.creator-spring.com. I don't know why the link has changed, or whatnot. But regardless, yeah, you can find a bunch of cool things. You can get mugs, you can get, a pullover hoodie, you can get t-shirts, you can get pillows, you can get phone cases, different t-shirt designs, Make America Cringe Again shirts, although maybe I should, I don't know. Do you guys want me to keep going with the Make America Cringe Again shirt? I mean, we'll have to see. So yeah, guys, you can get all these cool things and more, and also keep in mind these come in multiple colors, except for this. Like, this is still white, but yeah, a lot of my merch and whatnot comes in multiple colors. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention. Yeah, this classic tee right here. Yeah, the front has the Hannahcast logo, and the back has me, just my head and whatnot. I might try to update the store a bit to try to update some of the stuff and whatnot. I'm just gonna keep it right here. Yeah, I'm just gonna keep. Yeah, like I said, like $15 for a T-shirt. That's actually pretty good. So yeah, $10 for a mug. Again, $15 for a shirt is honestly a pretty damn good deal. Once again, that is christiansreviews.creator-spring.com. There's a lot of really cool stuff you can buy there. Like I said, I'm going to be updating the site a bit with more merch and whatnot, more designs, more unique designs, trying to figure out what designs work, what designs don't work. We'll have to see how that all goes. And that'll about do it for now, guys. Thank you so much for watching. And like I said, if you want to see more, subscribe, click that like button, share this video. It's all good for the algorithm. See you guys next time, guys. Here's hoping to some Hannahcast stuff. Wee.